Okay, welcome back, everyone. This has been a very challenging of set of steps for the job system. I basically got it down to 3 steps, at least the first 3 steps. Number one, we made it so we can change classes. Number two, we made it so whenever we get experience, it gets stored as the class we are in. And number three, now that our class is gaining experience and levels, we have made it so our class levels independently of our character level. So let's show it in action. And I did a lot of this off camera, and I'm going to explain it now because it took a lot to get going. Or my brain made a whole bunch of mistakes. So first of all, I'm going to wait here. These guys are higher level than me, so they're going to give me experience when they hit me, and I did not want him to move there. So let's redo it real fast. I'm going to move on to that tile, so they don't block me. Okay, so we got 7 experience plus another 7. We now have 14 experience. Our character has 14 experience, and I made a couple variables over here. You'll see I have 1 EXP begin, 1 EXP end, and 1 EXP final. So those are variables to indicate what was our experience at the beginning of this turn. Well, these other two were made. It gets a little messy, but if those characters had not hit me and I had hit them, this would be different. But I just want to show you that now I have those variables there. Those are able to help me add the necessary experience that we have gained across the turn. Now I'm going to go down to variables in this column, which I think we made in previous videos, where we have 01 level, so that is the first character's first class, which is swordsman, is still level 1. 01 experience is 14, and the JP is also 14 because we gained 14 experience. Now I'm going to change my class for Isaac. We're going to change to warrior, which is level 1 with 0 experience and 0 job points. Okay, they're going to attack me again. I get 7 and 7. We're now at 28 experience on our regular level. And let's check our variables again. Oops. I think it is. So now, swordsman is still at 14. And if we go down to job level, or the second job, it's also at 14 because we gained 14 on the last turn and 14 on this turn, but we were 2 separate classes. So that is one thing that I have gotten working. Now, what's next? So I want to switch back to swordsman. So now swordsman is level 1, which I have to change the, I'll say, level, experience, and job points. We'll select back to swordsman, but you can see that it updated to let you know what you got there. Okay, so I'm at 42 experience. If I come over here, I can go to learn skill. Isaac. As a swordsman, I have 28 job points. As a warrior, I have 14 job points. Now I can pick what category of skill do I want. A regular skill, a reaction, a passive, or a movement, we will go to skill. This is the current job points that I have up here. And now I can choose an ability. I only program sword and board and cancel. So we're going to select sword and board. We only have 28 job points. We need 90. So he says I need more job points, and it brings me back. And I can hit cancel. I tried making a back command, but that was just being a giant pain. So I did not create a back command. SRPG Studio is being very funny with it, but you can always cancel out. In this case, it will end turn. So the way I'm going to create a screen like this is I'm going to make it so whenever you go in your base to what I have as a special, let's see where we go. Special commands. I would create a base option, and with that base option, I would then transfer to another map. When I would do that is I would store the ID variable of the current map I'm on when I do this, so that when I switch to this map, I could then exit the map and go back to the map that I have the unit ID map, or the map ID for. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but that's the way I would plan on doing it. And then you can kind of make this like a headquarters inside it, or intense. You can make it so you see all your characters. It's really up to you how you would want to do that, but I feel like it would be a good idea to have it on a separate map for your base settings. With all that being said, we are going to see if we can get some more job points. So I'm going to start attacking this guy. We got 10 more. Another 14 there. We'll attack him one more time. Hopefully this kills. We get 38. We leveled up there. Now, once I hit a certain amount of job points, this is not through spending job points. Once I got a certain amount of experience in this class, I said, I think like 60. Once I hit 60 job points, it then unlocks an ability for me. So basically, I just set a variable from 0 to 1. So I would say class 1, or unit 1, so it would be 1, 1, 1 for Isaac. So first unit, first class, first ability, and then set the variable to 1 instead of 0 once I hit 60 experience. And I'm going to show you all that. I just want to show you how it's working first. So now I can use sword and board. And you can do the same exact thing with job level. Is once you hit 100 experience, or once you are greater than 100 experience, that one variable, then you can have it say, I have now reached level 2 in swordsman. And you can make it so you get bonuses and such too. So I'm gonna learn a skill, Isaac. I now have 110 points. And I can learn. Oh, something messed up there. I think I know what, but I will get back to it later. I was going to learn the skill, but I'm not going to do that right now. One other thing I wanted to show is that Isaac has 28 hit points and 13 strength. If I change class for Isaac back to warrior, he now has 23 hit points and 11 strength. So I made it so when you are in certain classes, you can have extra stats based on that class. Okay, so I think that covers a very basic job system where you can get abilities, you can level up the jobs, but this is without choosing how to spend your job points. I'm still working on getting the spending of the job points and setting the abilities. And then having you be able to use the abilities that you have learned. That'll be the next videos. But as of right now, I just want to show how to get this part to work, because this is a fully functioning job system that you would just have to flesh out more. Okay, so the other thing with spending job points, we're not going to focus on that right now. I thought it was working properly, but let me just check a variable real fast. Troubleshooting on the go. I want to see. Oh, I think it was a switch. It might have been a switch. Yeah. So when I canceled out, I needed to turn this switch off. So now going into all these auto events. That's swordsman ability skill, and then this lets me choose the skill. So right here for Z, I wanted to turn. Actually, that says skill off. I should have had it turned off already. I wonder why that didn't work. I'll look back in the video later. But okay, how are we getting all this to work? Well, you can do this multiple ways. I used place events currently. You can make it talk events, which I think would make more sense. You could have a trainer here and then bring up a menu that says, do you want to change class? Do you want to learn abilities? And have it as its own menu. Kind of one more layer of steps that I have here. So when we go here, I'm going to go to event mode. I now have show choices, and it gives you the option Isaac, Marin, Ago, or cancel. So I have A, which is turn Isaac's job on. You can, now I might actually suggest instead of switches for this, you might want to use variables and use 0 and 1, because the switches menu is much smaller. Like, once you go through however many characters you're going to have, whether it's 6 or if you're doing like 18, this can get really full, and you're also using other switches for your game in here, and that's just going to get massive. So if you just go to variables and then kind of just keep it all to one section, it'll still be really big, but it'll all at least be organized. And when you're going to try and do other things in the game, you won't have to go through your massive list. Okay, so back to it. We choose our option. It turns on a switch, which is then going to go to our map common events, and we're going to have auto events in here so that when Isaac job changes on, we chose Isaac. It is then going to start this event. We're going to immediately turn the switch off because we activated the event. And then we're going to show choices again. So we can see swordsman. This gets a little messy right here, but we could see swordsman, warrior, and knight, and then we're showing variables for their job level, their job experience, and their job points. If you are not using job points, you can get rid of that last section, and each of these are going to show up depending on what class you are. So Isaac, if Isaac is not a swordsman, then swordsman is going to show up and you can switch to it because you are not a swordsman. If you are a swordsman, you wouldn't change the class to be swordsman. But if you're a warrior, then you'll just see swordsman here or one of the other abilities. Another thing we went through in earlier videos is that we wanted to make it so that if you leveled up a certain job to be level 2, so for example, we leveled up Squire to level 2, which as I'm going to show later that we can do, then this one will show up. Okay, so once we have made our choice, which in this case we're going to choose swordsman, then we're going to change Isaac's class. I got rid of a lot of other stuff. We're just doing the very simple job change right now. If we do real Final Fantasy Tactics style job changing, then we might have to do more here, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. But as of right now, we just want to change between classes. So it's a simple new battle class change. And then you just go in there and put in the appropriate things depending on the choice you made, A, B, or C. Okay? Now Z is for cancel, and it just ends the turn right there. But we're in a map where turns don't really matter. We're not going to be fighting people. This is just an example map. Okay, so once we changed our class... Oh, that's not what we wanted. We were doing... I guess we were doing job changes. So that finishes up job changing. Now we want to go into learning abilities. So for learning abilities, we are going to go to this place event. It's very similar to the last one. We're just trying to activate the next thing. We're saying, which character do you want to do it for? So we ask what character we're going to do it for, and it's going to turn on a switch. So that one was learn skill, which brings you here. So learn skill is on, this activates. We're going to turn learn skill off, and then we're going to ask, what class do you want to level up? Well, actually, this is for the JP part, so we're actually not going to go through that in this video. I'm sorry. The next step, we already did step 1. Step 2 is how are we going to store our experience? And this one got a little mind-bendy, but it's going to be a little hard to show you because I had to troubleshoot some stuff. But we are going to character weight event. So I wanted to create 3 variables. I'll show you. I made them in my second slot. We have 1 for character 1, experience begin. We're going to do this for all the characters, but I'm only doing it for the first one. So 1, experience begin. So at the beginning of the turn, we're going to store our character's current experience. And then at the end of their turn, we're going to store what experience they got after they performed whatever actions they did. And then we created 1 more, and you'll see that there's an extra step needed for that. So we just needed those 3 variables, begin, end, and final. It's a little mind-bendy, but not too bad. Okay, so how does this process work? First, we're going to trigger it by the active player now being in wait. So any character you choose, this is going to update when one of your characters finishes their turn, not the full turn, but their turn. Okay, so when we do that, this is just for Isaac. You'll have to make it once again for all your other characters as well in the same event. But we are going to... Oh, sorry. We got to go here first. Sorry. So at the start of every player phase, we are going to store all of our characters' beginning experience. It's just going to be beginning of the player phase. Very simple. First step. Set it to free so it keeps happening every turn. And now we get back to here. Sorry, I had skipped a step. Okay. At the end of the turn of each character, we're going to set their new experience to 1 EXP end or 2 EXP end. This is just for the first character, Isaac's experience at the end of his turn. And then we're going to set final experience to be a separate variable. I will get back to this character leveled part because the way I initially had it working was that you're just going to take the end experience and subtract the beginning experience, and that's the value you're going to add to your job experience or your job points. However, that doesn't work if your character leveled. If your character started out 95 experience and gained 10 experience, you are now at 5 experience when you end. So we have to account for that. And that's going to be in this little messy part right here. And where character leveled is right here. So if they did not level, we're just going to take the end experience and add it to your original experience. Just going to add it. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Right here. This is if the ending experience is greater than the beginning experience. You're going to take end experience and you're going to subtract the beginning experience. So let's say you're now at 50 experience and you're previously at 20. You're going to subtract that so you get 30, which is the experience that you gained. When you have that 30 experience, you're going to skip this part, and go here. So you're going to take what your actual experience is for your job and then add that difference of experience, that 30. And that's it. And we're going to specify this, which class are we adding this to. So if Isaac is a swordsman on this turn, we're going to add it to his swordman experience. If he's a warrior, you add it to warrior, and knight, you add it to knight. Now what's this down here? If one EXP begin and one EXP final are not equal. Okay, so let's say it was this character's turn and they gained 30 experience. Final, which we stored at the beginning, would be different than beginning. So if they are not equal, I want to set EXP begin to be whatever it is at the end of the turn. I would explain it more, but it just creates bugs. It just makes it not work if you do not do this. It's fine if they are already equal, then it doesn't really matter because they're both the same. But we want them at the end of the turn to both be equal to whatever the character's experience is at the end of that turn, whether it's at 95 or 5. It's hard to explain, and imagine trying to figure this out. It was a few hours. Okay, one EXP end is then going to be set to EXP final. Because we use that for our calculations, I just make everything at the end all the equal to the character's experience at the end of the turn. And then we turn this switch off and set the event free. That was a little complicated, and now we're going to add another layer. So what if the character did level? Well, first we're going to say if the character's ending experience is less than the beginning experience, we're going to do this. So first things we're going to do is turn character leveled on. I created a switch that says the character leveled. So we're going to turn character leveled on, which is going to then trigger these next two and skip this. So if the character leveled, we're going to take the ending experience and add 100. So your original experience was 95, you gained 10 experience, so you're now at 5 experience. Well, that 5 experience, we're going to add 100 to it. So we're going to be at 105 compared to the 95. We're then going to subtract the 105 from the 95, and that'll leave us with 10, which is the experience that we gained. And then we just go back to adding it to whichever job and job points that are classes. And we reset these variables again. And then we turn character leveled off so we can reset this entire thing back to the way it was. I know that was complicated, which is why you can imagine me trying to figure this out in a video would be like 2 hours. And then you would just be following forever. Okay, so that is how you store the experience, assuming you did damage on your turn, or you gained experience on your turn. However, you can gain experience on the enemy's turn, which was something I just fixed right before this video. So we are basing it off of the one we just created, and we're going to create 2 more events. So now instead of starting experience, I'm going to create ending experience. So at the end of the player phase, I am going to store EXP begin as the character's experience. And then set this free again, as all these, because this is going to keep happening over and over again. Okay, so now we're going to go back to a trigger that at the end of the enemy phase, we're going to do the same exact thing. So we got all this. It's going to ask if the character leveled and so on. And then we just set character end event to free. It's the same exact thing, except it's happening at the end of the enemy turn instead of the end of the player phase. Or, at the end of a character waiting. Because once the enemy's turn is done, we can't really check our experience during that time, so you can just do it at the end of the turn. Now, you might be asking me, this is going to happen at the end of each player's individual turn. Wouldn't that mess things up? Well, we wrote it in a way so that would not happen. It kind of resets and then can be played again in the same turn over and over again, I hope. Actually, I did not test it with multiple characters. If that does not work, I will have to do another video or something. But hopefully all that works in the same turn. We'll find out later if I ever make a game like this. And if it doesn't work for you, let me know. Send me a video of what's not working, and hopefully I can help. Okay, so that is that part. Now, how do we actually level our jobs? We are getting the experience and so on. So, how are we going to level the jobs? Well, this part is way simpler. If variable 1 experience is 30 or more, then we can set, we created variables. I will show them in, I believe it's 5. I created more variables, or these are switches, I want variables. And 5. So, as with Final Fantasy Tactics, I set skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, skill 4, skill 5. You can do this with reaction abilities, passives, and movements. But I'm going to take unit 1's class 1, skill 1, which is defaulted to 0, and I'm going to turn it to 1. So when I get 30 experience in here, in that job level, I'm going to set 01, 01, 01. I guess I used a different variable, but 01, 01, 01, so skill 1, learned, set it to 1. And then I show a message. I can now use Sword and Board. And then this is now executed because I do not want to have this happen again. It's just going to stay 1 for the rest of the game. Okay? Now let's say I want to level my class. If I get to 100 experience, I then say, I guess I never finished this part, but I'll just do it with you right now. If experience is 100 or more, we're going to change 001 level. We're going to add 1. And then say, so I have now reached level 2 in Swordsman. Period. Okay, and then you would just execute whatever this is. So 01 level 2. Okay. So let's make these guys, I'll make him level 18. That was the left guy, right? Yeah. Let's test that out. So I got the 30 experience because it just said now I can use sword and board. Now, killing him should put me over the threshold to gaining my job level. So I gained 90 experience, got a regular level, and I've now reached level 2 and swordsman. Okay. And we can also check our variables and see did the variable get to level 2? And there it is. Level 2 and 146 experience and job points. Okay. What else is there? Oh, when I switch job classes, if I switch job classes, you can go to classes, you go down to swordsman, and you can make it so your parameters go up based on the class. You can also make it that if you're in a class, you can make it so your jobs, your levels change, your growths change based on what class you're in. But I'm not really doing that. If you want to, that's fine. Okay, what else? Okay, what if I wanted to make a unit ability open up only when I have that class? This I have not created yet. So ignore this. That's me trying to create the job classes. I'm going to create a command, sword and board. Go sword/board. Not enough space. Okay, sword/board. And now what are the requirements we need? This is going to be if Isaac, I always like alive for some reason. I always do that. If his class is a swordsman, this is going to change if we're doing the Final Fantasy Tactics thing. That's where it gets really complicated. I'm just doing a simple one right now. So if he is a swordsman, and if variable I think I said 01, 01, 01. So where is that? 01, 01, 01 is learned. Okay, so if that is equal to 1, then we can use this ability. And that's all I'm going to do for that part. If you want to put in limited uses or some kind of cooldown, you can add more into here, but I'm just going to say I can use it now. I won't create the entire ability because we can do that in a different video on abilities. But let's just see if we then gain the option once we kill this guy. To attack him. I gain 23 experience. I'm probably gonna learn it once they hit me. I can now use Sword and Board. And now Sword and Board is available, even though it doesn't do anything. So that's it for a basic job system. Creating the Final Fantasy Tactics one. I might take a break and try that later. That is a deep endeavor, especially in this. A couple of things I wish I was able to get to work more. I'll show you in a second. I wish I could have done back in this menu. I was trying for a while and was never able to get it to work. But if you were to learn skill in Isaac, and let's say I wanted to actually go back to Marin, I have to cancel out the entire thing. If I want to go here and go back to a different class, I have to cancel out the entire thing. But this video is rather long, I assume. I feel like I got enough in here for you guys to work with. And that'll be it for this video. I hope it was useful. Have a good day.